I'll be heading out around early. Okay, now we're on YouTube. Okay. Okay, should I start with Kirtan Maharaj or
By all means.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Arjay,
Om Vishnupad Panamansa Pariprajaka Ashto Sri Srimati A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kunikiti Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Tham Ki Jai Navadip Tham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamana Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
welcome everyone to Caitanya Caritamrita with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. It is Thursday, June 12th, 2025, and today we're starting with Adi-lila, chapter 13, text 124. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Acharya Advaita Chandra Swarup Rupa Raghunatha Dasa Ina Sabara Sri Charana Siravandi Nija Dana Jama Lila Kaila Krishnadasa. Translation. Taking on my head as my own property the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Acharya Advaita Chandra, Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami, I, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, have thus described the advent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, Advaita Prabhu, Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Dasa, and their followers are all accepted by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Anyone who follows in the footsteps of Kaviraj Goswami also accepts the lotus feet of the above-mentioned lords as his personal property. For a materialistic person, material wealth and opulence are only illusory. Actually, they are not possessions, but entanglements, because by enjoying the material world, a conditioned soul becomes more and more entangled by incurring debts for his present enjoyment. Unfortunately, a conditioned soul considers property for which he is in debt to be his own, and he is very busy acquiring such property. But a devotee considers such property not real property, but simply an entanglement in the material world. If Lord Krishna is very pleased with a devotee, he takes away his material property, as he states in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:88:8, Yasyaham anupranami harisya tad danam sanai. To show special favor to a devotee, I take away all his material property. Similarly, Narottam Das Thakur says, Dana Mora Nityananda Radha Krishna Sri Charana Se Mora Dana Dana. My real riches are Nityananda Prabhu and the lotus feet of Sri Radha and Krishna. He further prays, O Lord, kindly give me this opulence. I do not want anything but your lotus feet as my property. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung in many places that his real property is the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. Unfortunately, we are interested in unreal property and are neglecting our real property. Adane Yatana Kari Dana Tayaginu. So long purport. Do you have any comments there, Maharaj?
Om Jnanatmirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Miditam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jain Bhutale Ayam Rupakada Mayam Dadati Shapadantikam Ande Hang Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamanam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrashatam Sahagana Raghunitam Vitam Stam Sajiva Sadvaitam Savatutam Pravijanam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lolita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prasha Bhanu Sute Devi Pranamani Hari Priye Vansha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Pyevacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shri Gaur Bhakti Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram. Well, it's a long purport, but you've just about reached the end of it. Am I not wrong?
Oh yeah. I guess I'm I
Let's
made a
finish the purport then.
miscalculation in my yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll just finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes Smartas consider Raghunath Das Goswami a Sudra, but Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami here especially mentions Swarupa Raghunath Dasa. Therefore, one who considers the lotus feet of Raghunath Dasa to be transcendental to all divisions of the caste system enjoys the riches of actual spiritual bliss. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, Adi-lila, 13th chapter, describing the advent of Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes. So the purport revolves around this concept, this term, Nijatan, my own wealth. Iha Shabar Shri Chodon, Shire Bandi, Nijatan. Nijatan means one's own property or one's own wealth. So Prabhupada speaks of wealth. First to take the meaning. The Kaviraj Goswami says, this is my wealth. Sri Caitanya Nityananda Acharya Advaita Chandra Swarup Rupa Raghunatha Das. Iha Shabar Sri Charan Shire Bandi Nijantan. Adi-lila Gaila Krishna Das. This is my wealth. Iha Shabar Sri Charan. The lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Advaita Chandra, Shrup Damodar Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami. Their lotus feet is my wealth. Or Prabhupada quotes later that Narottam Das Thakur says, the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna, that's my wealth. This is real wealth. What is that? Nitai Charana Satya. What is that? Nitya. Nitai Charana Satya. Anyway, I'll remember afterwards. But the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu are factual wealth. The lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is factual wealth. And the wealth that we're thinking of, where somebody's thinking, oh, what is that? This is just imaginary wealth, doctrinal wealth, dogmatic wealth. This is not real wealth. Real wealth is wealth. Money, that's wealth. Let's not play games here. But the Prabhupada says, no, that's not really wealth. Material wealth, material opulence, it's only illusory. It's not a real possession, it's borrowed. Or one becomes indebted by accumulating that wealth. Sometimes one genuinely becomes one, in the, what would you say, conventional sense of the term, becomes indebted. One builds wealth upon debt. One goes into debt to build a business or to accumulate wealth. Or one incurs karmic debt. I'm enjoying, but for each step in my enjoyment, I'll have to pay later. Yes, you can enjoy it, but you'll have to pay. You'll have to pay. So, and I'm saying, yes, all right, I'll pay. Just let me enjoy. But how indebted one's becoming, how much one will have to pay, one doesn't know, or one doesn't consider. So one is becoming more entangled by incurring debts for his present enjoyment. Either literally, that we also see that people run up credit card debt. I can immediately enjoy, I can buy this, I can buy that, but then debt. Or one borrows money from money lenders. So, all right, now I can enjoy it, but I'm becoming indebted. So literally one becomes indebted. It's not actual wealth. Or one becomes karmically indebted. One will have to pay back for one's supposed enjoyment. And yet one thinks, this is mine, this is mine. It still belongs to the bank, or belongs to the creditors, but I'm thinking it's mine. Or it's all built on borrowed property. Even this body is property borrowed from material nature. To say nothing of my home, my mansion, my yacht. It's all borrowed from material nature, and one will have to pay. So one considers it real, but it's really entanglement. And the devotee thinks, yes, this is entanglement. And therefore, sometimes the devotee prays, please take away my entanglements. Relieve me of this burden. And sometimes, even if one doesn't pray, Krishna does that. Yasyaham anugranami odisheta dhanam shanai. Krishna takes away that supposed wealth to show favor to the devotee. And instead, Krishna gives the real wealth. Krishna says, anyone who wants to stack up that kind of wealth is a fool. And especially a devotee who wants to accumulate that kind of wealth for sense enjoyment is foolish. Someone who prays to Krishna, please protect my wealth, increase my wealth. It's, Krishna says, foolish. But Krishna says, I'm not foolish. Why should I give him something that will just have him come back again, begging me, please give me this, please give me that. Instead, I'll take everything away from him and I'll give him the nectar of devotional service at my lotus feet. So that's the anugranami. When I actually favor someone, then horishe tadhanam shanai. I slowly take away all of his wealth, tadhanam. The same thing, nijadanam, tadhanam. I take away that wealth, and I give him the real wealth. So Dhanamor Nityananda Radha Krishna Sricharan Shaymor Pranatan. This is the wealth of my life. Narottam Das Thakur says. Nityananda Prabhu and lotus feet of Radha Krishna. And Kaviraj Goswami, similarly, lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Dvaita Chandra, Rupa Goswami, Swarup Damodar Goswami, Raghunath Das. This is real wealth. Some smartas consider Raghunath Das Goswami a Shudra, but Kaviraj Goswami says no, he's lotus feet are my wealth. So Prabhupada says, one who considers the lotus feet of Raghunath Das to be transcendental to all divisions of the caste system enjoys the riches of actual spiritual bliss. People don't know what wealth is. So that was an expression my mother used to use. I don't know about others. You don't know what good is. You don't know what good is. Oh, that's not good. Oh, you don't know what good is. But we don't know what real wealth is. The lotus feet of the Goswamis. This is real wealth. It's also, I'm sure you've noted that some of the verses in Chaitanya Charitamrita are written in this long meter. Generally, most of the verses are written in a short meter. But here, some important verses or selected verses, or especially poetic verses, are written in this longer and one might say more elegant or more sophisticated or simply longer meter. Sri Caitanya Nityananda Acharya Dvaita Chandra Swarupa Raghunatha Das. And many of the, what would you say? Yes, special selected portions are written in that longer meter. Okay, any questions or comments?
There are things in the chat. I have to leave
You
the
have to go.
call now. I'm wondering if Saraswati might actually be able to take the chat. That's all right. If you're available to read the chat from now on since I'm leaving.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rasananda.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, Saraswati. Yes, the first comment.
It's actually by me. Pranams Param Pujya Maharaj and all
Yes.
Vaishnava. Yes, I was just actually saying that Sri Raghunatha Das Goswami was born in what I think was a really wealthy business class family. So we cannot really be a so-called Sudra class. And also we know that Vaishnavas don't really belong to any so-called caste system. And also Raghunath Das Goswami is the presiding person for the Prayojana stage in Bhakti. And in that stage, we know that Krishna Prema has already been attained. And the second comment, Priti Purna Madhvi Mataji, Nitayar Charana Satya Tahara Sevaka Nitya Nitai Pada Sada Karo Ashaha.
Yes, she's supplying the words I forgot. Tar Sevaka Nitya. Nitai Chodana Shotya. The lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu are fact. And Tahar Sevaka Nitya. The one who becomes the servant of Lord Nityananda, or one who is the servant of Lord Nityananda, lives on the eternal platform. Yes, the Vaishnavas belong to a Chuta they're all descendants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there's no question of belonging to any mundane caste, whether Shudra or Vaishya. Tepi Anti Paramgatim. They're all eligible, or factually, they're Sagunan Samiti Chaitan, they're transcendental to the modes of nature. Brahmabhuyaya Gopate, they've attained the Brahmabhuta platform, spiritual platform. The Ramananda Roy also was sometimes considered a Shudra, sometimes considered a Kshatriya because he was in charge of something, but generally considered belonging to a caste that was analogous to or resembled the Kayasta class. So Shudra. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu departed for South India, said to the Lord, please go see Ramananda. Don't neglect him, considering him a Shudra. He's actually situated on the highest stage of Krishna consciousness. So we don't consider Shudra or Vaishya. Ye Krishna Tattvaveta She Guru. One who knows the science of Krishna is fit to be a bona fide guru. And then again, the smartest will say, well, maybe he can be a Shiksha guru, but not a Diksha guru. And Srila Prabhupada comments, no, Shiksha guru, Diksha guru, any kind of guru, he can become Ye Krishna Tattvaveta if he knows the science of Krishna. Okay. Well, we can begin the next chapter.
There's another
comment. Okay, tell me.
from Venkatesh. In general society, a person with less bank balance is considered a failure. It is also the case that if devotees have financial problems, they are unable to focus on their daily sadhana.
They may or may not. sometimes the first thing that happens, Krishna says, so I take everything away, and they try to get it back. Can I get back my financial position? And then maybe he pulls something together, then I smash it again. I take everything away. Then he builds it up. Again, I take everything away. Then finally he surrenders. Then he's more able to focus on his daily sadhana. He's not thinking, somehow I have to get back my financial position. Now, Radha Krishna Sri Charan, Pranamor, Shaidan, like that. Now my real wealth is Krishna consciousness, or the lotus feet of Radha Krishna. So then he's no longer disturbed. I'm disturbed because I think I need this wealth. My wealth is everything. My wealth is everything. What about my this? What about my that? But when he finally feels totally smashed and surrenders, now I have no more problem. Okay, chapter 14, Lord Chaitanya's childhood pastimes. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given a summary of this chapter in his Amrita Prabhava Bhasha. In the 14th chapter, there's a description of how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoyed his childhood pastimes, crawling, crying, eating dirt, and giving intelligence to his mother, favoring a Brahmin guest, riding on the shoulders of two thieves, and misleading them to his own house, and on the plea of being diseased, taking prasadam in the house of Hiranya and Jagadish on the Ekadashi day. The chapter further describes how he displayed himself as a naughty boy, how when his mother fainted, he brought a coconut to her on his head, how he joked with girls of the same age on the banks of the Ganges, how he accepted worshipful paraphernalia from Srimati Lakshmi Devi, how he sat down in a garbage pit and instructed his mother in transcendental knowledge, how he left the pit on the order of his mother, and how he dealt with his father with full affection. So these are all topics in this chapter. Katanchana smriti yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet. Katanchana smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet. Vismrite viparitam syat Sri Chaitanyam namami tam. Things that are very difficult to do become easy to execute if one somehow or other simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if one does not remember him, then even easy things become very difficult. To this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances. Purport. In his book, Chaitanya Chandramrita, Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati says, one who receives a little favor from the Lord becomes so exalted that he does not care even for liberation, which is sought after by many great scholars and philosophers. Similarly, a devotee of Lord Chaitanya considers residence in the heavenly planets a will-o'-the-wisp. He surpasses the perfection of mystic yoga power because for him, the senses are like snakes with broken fangs. A snake is a very fearful and dangerous animal because of his poison fangs. But if these fangs are broken, the appearance of a snake is no cause for fear. The yoga principles are meant to control the senses, but there's no scope for the senses of one engaged in the service of the Lord to be dangerous. like snakes. These are the gifts of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Kaivalyam Narakayate Judashapur Akasha Pushpayate. The Prabhupada's citing a verse. For one who's gotten even a little sidelong glance from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all of this becomes possible. The senses become like serpents with broken fangs. The heavenly planets become like an imagination. High volume, impersonal realization becomes hellish. So all of this is possible for one who's gotten a little mercy from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hari Bhakti Vilas confirms that difficult things become easy to understand if one remembers Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and easy things become very difficult to understand if one forgets him. We actually see that even those who are very great scientists in the eyes of the general public cannot understand the very simple idea that life comes from life, because they do not have the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They defend the false understanding that life comes from matter, although they cannot prove that this is a fact. Modern civilization, therefore, progressing on the basis of this false scientific theory, is simply creating problems to be solved by the so-called scientists. So things that are very easy to understand. It's easy to understand that life comes from life. We see that everywhere. Life is producing more life, and non-living things don't produce consciousness, don't produce life. It's easy to understand. But it becomes very difficult for those who neglect the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or the lotus feet of Krishna. Nama dushkritana mudha prapadyante naradhama maya pratagana asuram bhavamashita. Because of their materialistic mentality, vimukha-cetasa, because of turning away from Krishna, they're busy enjoying false happiness, and they can't understand the simple truth of Krishna consciousness. Whereas a person who's gotten a little mercy from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who accepts the chanting of Hare Krishna, who takes up the principles of Krishna consciousness under the guidance of pure devotees, such a person can understand things very easily that even these highly educated scientists have a hard time grasping. The author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita takes shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to describe the pastimes of his appearance as a child, because one cannot write such transcendental literature by mental speculation. One who writes about the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be especially favored by the Lord. Simply by academic qualifications, it's not possible to write such literature. That's our principle. We don't give any importance to what people write, what great scholars write, if they're not Krishna conscious. If they're not Krishna conscious, we're not interested in reading their speculations about pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the meaning of Krishna conscious activities. Our principle is to hear from the devotees. And so, katanchana smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhaved. Simply smrite, by remembering Lord Chaitanya, even the difficult things become easy. we see practically that devotees are able to do wonderful things by the grace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they're able to understand reach deep philosophical understandings that are simply beyond the grasp of the materialists. And vismrite viparitam syat, and by forgetting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then just the opposite. So Kaviraj Goswami's Sri Chaitanyam Namam Tam, I offer my obeisances to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Prabhupada comments that now I have to write about Lord Chaitanya's Lila, about his childhood pastimes. This is very difficult. It's very difficult to understand everything about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or to write about, and especially to write in poetic language and so on. So Kaviraj prays for the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. My dear Lord, if you wish, then this difficult business will become easy. By your mercy, on my own, I can't write adequately. But if you give your mercy, then everything comes. And Praveen has quoted, Tapite Deva Padambujam Dvaya Prasadale Shanu Grihite Vihi Janati Tattvam Bhagavan Mahimno Nachanya Ekopi Shiram Pichinvan. My Lord, if one is favored by even a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are unable to know you, even though they continue to study the Vedas for many years. So prasadale shanu grihite vihi, those who are favored by even prasadalesh means just a trace, just a slight bit of your mercy. They can understand, not others. Thank you, that relevant verse. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya, Jai Nityananda, Jayadvaita Chandra Jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, and all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Prabhur Kohila E Janmalila Shutra Yashodanandana Yoiche Vailo Shatriputra. I've thus described in brief the advent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared as the son of Mother Shachi, exactly as Krishna appeared as the son of Mother Yashoda. Srila Narottam Das Thakur confirms this statement, that now Lord Krishna, the son of Mother Yashoda, has appeared again as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, becoming the son of Mother Shachi. Rajendra Nandana Jay, Shachi Shuta Hoilo She, Balaram Hoilo Nitai. The son of Shachi is none other than the son of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, and Nityananda Prabhu is the same. Jankepe Kohila Janmalila Anukram Ebi Kahi Balyalila Shutrer Guna. I've already briefly spoken about the pastimes of his birth in chronological order. Now I'll give a synopsis of his childhood pastimes. Shutrer means in brief. I've spoken about his birth pastimes. Now I'll speak about his Adi-lila, his childhood pastimes. Bande Caitanya Krishnasya Adi-lila Manoharam Lokikim Apitam Isha Cheshtaya Balitantana. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the childhood pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Lord Krishna himself. Although such pastimes appear exactly like those of an ordinary child, they should be understood as various pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport: in the Bhagavad Gita, this statement is confirmed as follows: Avajananti ma mudha manushim tanamashritam param bhavam ajananto amaputa maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature and my supreme dominion over all that be. To execute his pastimes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears on this planet or within this universe like an ordinary human being or human child. Yet he maintains his superiority as the Supreme Lord. Lord Krishna appeared as a human child, but his uncommon activities, even in his childhood, like the killing of the demon Putana or the lifting of Govardhan Hill, were not the engagements of an ordinary child. Similarly, although the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, as they will be described in this chapter, appear like the activities of a small boy, they are uncommon pastimes, impossible for an ordinary human child to execute. So these pastimes are manohara, very beautiful. They capture the mind. So they're Isha Cheshta, their manifestation of the activities of the Supreme Controller, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although they appear to be the activities of an ordinary human being. Avajananti mam amanashim. Any comments, questions?
Nothing in the chat box, Maharaj Shri.
Yeah, thank you. Adi-lila Age Prabhur Uttan Shoyon Pita Matai Tekailo Chinna Choron. In his first childhood pastimes, the Lord turned upside down while lying on his bed, and thus he showed his parents the marks of his lotus feet. Purport: the word uttan is also used to mean lying down on the bed face upwards, or lying down flat on the bed. In some readings, the word is uttan, which means standing up. In his childhood pastimes, the Lord tried to catch the wall and stand up, but as an ordinary child falls down, so the Lord also fell down and again took to lying on his bed. Grihe dvijon deki lagupada chinno tahe shobhe dvaja bajra shanka chakra min. When the Lord tried to walk, in his small footprints, the specific marks of Lord Vishnu were visible, namely the flag, thunderbolt, conch shell, disc, and fish. Yekiya dohar chitte jonmila vishmoy Kar poda chinda kore na pai nishchoy. Seeing all these marks, neither his father nor his mother could understand whose footprints they were. Thus, struck with wonder, they could not understand how these marks could be possible in their home. So this is Yogamaya, as we were reading not long ago. Yogamaya is the potency by which Krishna is somewhat revealed and somewhat concealed. So the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were revealed. On his lotus feet, he has these signs of Vishnu, just resembling the signs on the lotus feet of Krishna. So his identity was revealed, but concealed. The parents were thinking, whose footprints are these? These couldn't be the footprints of our son. So this is Yogamaya, keeping intact or nourishing the parental feelings of Jagannath Mishra and Shachi Devi at the same time that the Lord's real identity was being displayed. So they were just struck, whose footprints are these? Mishra kohe, Bal Gopal Ache Shila Shange, Teo Murti Ha Kore, Kele Jani Range. Jagannath Mishra said, certainly child Krishna is with the Shalagram Shila. Taking his childhood form, he's playing within the room. Purport, when the form of the Lord is carved from wood, stone, or any other element, it is to be understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is there. Even logically, we can understand that all material elements are expansions of the energy of the Lord. Since the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is non-different from his personal body, the Lord is always present in his energy, and he manifests himself on account of the ardent desire of a devotee. Since the Lord is supremely powerful, it's logical that he can manifest himself in his energy. Deity worship, or worship of the Shalagram Shila, is not idol worship. The deity of the Lord in the house of a pure devotee can act exactly as he can in his original personal, transcendental personality. So the Lord, whether in the form of the of Radha Krishna or Shalagram Shila, is all powerful, and Prabhupada again gives some of the classical arguments justifying or explaining the worship of the deity, giving the underlying philosophical understanding. And at the same time, the topic of the verse is that Jagannath Mishra thought, well, maybe the Shalagram Shila is making these footprints. Somehow he's taking his original form as Krishna or Narayan and walking about in some way, making these footprints, and just trying to figure it out. This is what we do. We see something unusual, and we say, well, maybe this or maybe that. Well, it could be this, could be that. So in the pastimes of the Lord, the parents are trying to figure out, how are all these signs of divinity appearing within our house? And then Jagannath Mishra, well, it must be the Shalagram Shila doing something unusual. That could explain it. And he doesn't think that, well, maybe my son is the Supreme Personality of God, and Yogamaya won't allow that. No, my son is my son. Shalagram Shila is the Supreme Personality of God, and he can do these things. My son is an ordinary boy. How can these things? That's not an option. There's a comment above.
It's from Murari, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Always impresses me that devotees are dismissive of not only all the goals of materialists, but also the goals of heaven, paradise, merging, disappearing, and practically speaking, the goals of every other path within a very short time of taking up Krishna consciousness. It is certainly something very unusual.
Yes, it is the same people who might have been hoping for material happiness from sense gratification now become disdainful of material sense enjoyment, or they pray to be relieved of the burden of sense enjoyment. Same people who were hoping for sense enjoyment or immersing themselves sense enjoyment now want nothing to do with it. And even liberation, which is the shelter or the hoped for shelter of those seeking spiritual realization, becomes of no interest to the devotee. Or in practical, not practical, but in a modern context, all these sort of fluffy ideas of spiritual life, of going with the flow and becoming one with the universe, and all this kind of easy, what would you say, this pablum of generic spirituality becomes of no interest to the devotee. He sees that this has no value. Why? Others are thinking, because they have nothing, they think, oh, this is profound, this is something. Why should we be absorbed in material life when these profound understandings are there? But for a devotee, it's not profound at all. I was just reading a little bit about some broad-minded scientists who are seeing that there must be some underlying reality of which matter and spirit are merely aspects. And it's pretty good for materialists, or for mental speculators. They go beyond the usual range of materialism, but they find it challenging to figure out, or to try to figure out, how this could be so. And certainly they don't have an inkling, practically, that this underlying reality that they're looking for, of whom everything is merely an aspect, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that the Supreme Personality of Godhead solves the contradictions that they're concerned with. How from this one underlying reality could these different aspects of existence proceed? For a devotee, this is not a problem. And rather than puzzle over that problem, they immerse themselves in the nectar of the form, qualities, pastimes, and so on, of that Supreme Personality of God. All right, shall we have some kirtan? Who's volunteering?
I nominate Venkatesh.
You've been nominated, Venkatesh.
Are you muted, Prabhuji?
Speak again.
Krishna.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Nami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prasarade Nirvishesha Shubhyavani Shatyadeshakagini Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Devo Vishwal Guru Acharya Ashtam Shukra Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada की जय अंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय नमस्कार श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से गौ श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासुदेव गौर भक्तवृंद की जय श्री राधा कृष्ण गौ गोपीनाथ श्याम सुंदर गिरि गोवर्धन की जय श्री राम प्रसाद की जय गौरी पूजन की जय जगन्नाथ धाम की जय दुर्गा यमुना की जय तुलसी भक्त की जय समवेत गौर भक्तवृंद की जय all graces of devotees, all graces of devotees, all glories of devotees, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga.
For Premanande, Adi-lila. Thank you all very much. We wish you a Krishna conscious weekend. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki jai.
His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj ki jai.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.